The reason I'm doing a video on this in the first place is actually because one of you reached out in the comments saying how you felt like you were taken advantage of by whoever this nefarious, mysterious actor is. So I followed up and I got some great insight from Dan. He basically told me that his job as an instructional assistant was to make sure that people were staying in the bootcamp long enough to get past that payment deadline so that they would be forced to pay the full amount of the tuition whether or not they graduated. Like most people, I was lured in by the university name. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. It's insane that these universities are letting this happen. It's infuriating that they would attach their reputation to such a scummy company that is victimizing people that need to find a way to make a decent income. It's something that's increasingly annoying me and that I want to make more content about because this predatory stuff is wild with coding bootcamps. I can't believe some of the things that I'm starting to see coding bootcamps do. All right, so today we're going to be looking at a post on Reddit by somebody who attended a particular coding bootcamp that we're going to learn about in just a second. I came across this article and it was just too revealing to not make a video about. So today we're going to be looking through this post. It is 5 months old. It's called The Dirty Truth About edX/Trilogy Bootcamps. I need to put this out there since I keep seeing people asking these topics of wanting to attend a university bootcamp. This is coming from my experience as a Trilogy/edX/2U bootcamp graduate when we finished the course 2 weeks ago. This was the worst financial decision I have ever made. So for those of you that don't know, there are a lot of bootcamps out there that they kind of present themselves as a university bootcamp. I know that when I was first thinking about going to a coding bootcamp, I looked at one that Oregon State University was sponsoring or putting on. It really looks like when you see it, I never went too far down their sales pipeline, but from the outside, it looks like you're going to be going to college, basically, and learning a bootcamp-based curriculum from a university. So that's what this is. From what I understand, 2U rebranded Trilogy with edX a few weeks ago when their parent company, 2U, purchased edX last year. The reason for them rebranding is because U2 is trying to clean up the negative reputation their university bootcamps had and combine all of Trilogy's back end with edX for their bootcamps. Trilogy no longer exists as a company. It's part of edX now. So basically, this company has rebranded into another company. This was primarily to hide Trilogy from ever existing, basically. You can't find any mention of Trilogy on 2U's websites. In fact, if you search for Trilogy bootcamps right now, you get edX coming up. On here, I don't think you get any mention. Let's just look real quick to see if we can find There's no results of Trilogy on this entire website, so fine. And then if you go to Trilogy Education, they have kind of rebranded their website to be really generic. And it doesn't really point towards anything specific. It's kind of weird. Anyways, their first point. Every single one of these university bootcamps are run by a predatory company called Trilogy Education, which is this. For example, if you see UC Berkeley's coding bootcamps website or any other schools they're supposedly partnered with, scroll all the way down and it will say, in partnership with edX, or something along those lines. Every single university bootcamp website run by Trilogy are copy and pasted, and the only difference is they just changed the color and logo to match that specific university. Trilogy and edX are the same company owned by 2U. People are attending edX bootcamps thinking edX is still owned by Harvard when it's actually owned by 2U. That's another weird predatory thing that I've kind of picked up with this, is they're going largely by edX, which first off kind of sounds like TEDx, so it kind of weirdly steals some of the reputation of them. But similarly, edX has in the past had a lot of really high quality content up on their website. I believe edX is the website that hosted the Harvard CS50 class. It might still. So this is kind of convoluted. People are enrolling themselves into these edX bootcamps thinking they're enrolled in a university program when in reality, the universities have nothing to do with these programs. This is where people are being deceived. When you're applying to enroll in the bootcamp, they give you a phone number to contact that looks like it's related to the university's phone number and area code. This is not true at all, though. The people who are calling you are 2U employees who are using a spoofer to make it seem like they're university employees. I don't really know what to say about this except that it's weird. Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's a bit of a masquerade. I mean, I don't know. You probably can't say anything ethically about that, but it is weird that they're doing that. 2U aggressively markets their boot camps on TV and advertisements by making these flashy videos for specific universities, claiming the schools run the boot camps and to attend them to change your life and make six figures. Fine. So they're like every other boot camp. Interestingly enough, on some of these school websites, on their extended learning or continuing education tab, they make no mention of these boot camps. Why would they hide this information on their website? Which begs the question, do these schools actually partner with 2U and Trilogy, or are Trilogy just using the school's names without them knowing? I'm not sure about that. I don't know if they'd be able to use the school's name without them being aware of it, but Trilogy has barely updated the curriculum. The assignments you get have barely changed too. The most significant thing they added was React and GraphQL, but are still somehow mediocre. You can easily find the bootcamp's class repo uploaded on GitHub if you dig them up. So you can find all the course material online, which again is like fine. There's a lot of material you can find online. Most of the benefit of going to a coding bootcamp is having instructors there on a regular basis, having classmates to interact with, and being able to be held accountable to show up all the time. You'll be paying $1,000 up front as a deposit. If you think about withdrawing after the first week deadline, Trilogy's official policy is that either you will have to pay any remaining tuition to fulfill the $12,000 tuition fee or enroll yourself as an active non-participant, which means you get to attend all of the Zoom calls but don't have to participate in turning in assignments and projects. I don't know if the paying full tuition policy for withdrawing after the deadline is actually enforced, but from reading people's experience, it sure does seem like it is, since people have said they've been bombarded with spoofed phone calls from Trilogy to pay up the remaining tuition for withdrawing. So they're coming after people that drop out of the bootcamp itself after getting past the 1 week payment deadline. I actually talked with a former employee of Trilogy who was an instructional assistant recently. His name is Dan Rosenbaum. We connected on LinkedIn, and he was really helpful with kind of understanding a lot of this. The reason I'm doing a video on this in the first place is actually because one of you reached out in the comments saying how you felt like you were taken advantage of by a Trilogy sponsored or 2U sponsored or edX sponsored bootcamp, whoever this nefarious, mysterious actor is. So I followed up, and thank you for reaching out in the first place. You recommended I talk to Dan, and I got some great insight from Dan. He basically told me that his job as an instructional assistant was to make sure that people were staying in the bootcamp long enough and felt good enough, long enough to stay in the bootcamp to get past that payment deadline so that they would be forced to pay the full amount of the tuition, whether or not they graduated. So disgusting. It's like super predatory. Not a good practice at all, obviously. You get to be absent for 8 days and miss 2 assignments to graduate, but it adds up really easily if you're not extremely careful since it's a 6-month-long program. Which, I mean, that's fair. I mean, 8 days is a lot of days to miss in a 6-month bootcamp. If you're going to be going to a coding bootcamp, don't make travel plans. Don't make plans to leave. And if you get sick, do everything you can to show up anyways. You can follow behind really, really quickly at a coding bootcamp, especially if it's of a high quality. People are attracted to Trilogy's bootcamps because they falsely market themselves as the fastest way to get into the tech industry with 6 months of class and a diverse access of network connections, but anyone who attend will prove you otherwise. There are no fast ways to get into tech. Yeah, this is a big thing that I would warn people against with considering a coding bootcamp is if the main thing that they're touting is that they can get you into tech quickly, you need to take another look at this coding bootcamp, because the idea that you're going to get into software engineering, software developing extremely fast from zero experience is not only not helpful, not only probably not true, but definitely harmful to what you're trying to do. If you really want to make a career in software, this is a long, long game. You're going to be learning how to develop code for many years. The whole time. These technologies are changing every year, guys. If you expect that you can just learn for 3 months and get into the industry, look, you might be able to. I'm not saying you won't, but it's a bad mindset to work by. If you're going to a coding bootcamp, it should be because you want to establish a fundamental understanding of the fundamentals, the things that really matter within developing software. And going into a coding bootcamp without the desire to do anything but that is a bad way to operate. So If that's the way you're feeling, I get it. These coding bootcamps target people that are interested in getting into the industry really, really fast, but it's a bad place to start from. It's not a first principles place. Don't fall for their claims of networking opportunities. They say you'll have a network from the bootcamp. They mean only for the time while you're attending that bootcamp. Their definitions of network is being able to interact with each other on Zoom calls and collaborating on group projects. That's literally it. Classmates are mostly blue-collar workers who are trying to get out of that environment. Oh, hey, that's me. So any relationship you build with them, if you build one at all, are mostly an inconvenience to them. All right. You don't have to get all personal, man. I mean, I'm a nice guy. I want to talk. They're just forced to interact with you because that's part of the requirement to graduate. Okay, whatever. So you need to participate in class basically and do some networking, I guess. I don't get why you couldn't connect with people on LinkedIn. That is what networking is like following up and having extended conversations with people over time. So I don't really get that one. Don't try using their career services. You'll save yourself from hitting your head on the keyboard. Career services are bad in general, but edX's career services are on another level. They have these career events once every few days, but it outright feels like those Amway motivational seminars where you invite other people to come join. Yeah, I embarrassingly have been involved with some Amway events before, and I haven't been to one of these events specifically, but I know what that feels like if that's truly what he's referring to. They're just telling you things you already obviously knew because your instructor told you these information beforehand. It's like life after a coding bootcamp, interview prep for web developers, things you can easily look up on YouTube. All the feedback they give you on career services and the resume helper are things like just be yourself and it's okay to have imposter syndrome. Keep continuing to push forward. What the so-called career advisor gave as feedback looks like a copy and pasted response of things I already put on my resume. Yeah, for sure. They have a career event directly from within their 2U website. Your chances are slim to none if you're trying to get hired from this event. It's just a mock interview, really. Mock interviews are great. I mean, if you can get a technical mock interview and behavioral mock interviews on a regular basis, especially going through coding bootcamp, it's pretty awesome. I had my first interview recently, actually, and I must say I attribute the literally 2 sessions that I've had with one of my mentors outside of coding bootcamp. I attribute those 2 sessions that I've had with him to making me way more comfortable when it came time to talk about code on camera with somebody else on the other end. So that was great. The whole point of a bootcamp is to force yourself to learn these topics that you otherwise wouldn't learn on your own. You will still need to learn more of what the bootcamp taught after the course ends. What the bootcamp teaches is not enough. Trilogy, however, says otherwise. Yeah, so that's true. I absolutely agree with that. You're not going to learn everything you need to learn at coding bootcamp. That's not how it works. Sorry, you can't learn everything you need to know in 3 months of experience without doing any real world productive work. You need to understand that it's going to take longer than just going through bootcamp to get a job. It's not the answer to all your problems. Trilogy, however, says otherwise. On their university partner websites, they claim once you graduate, you'll be 100% job ready, which is false in my experience, in anyone's experience. No one will hire you if they find out you graduated from a Trilogy bootcamp. The people that I know who did get hired admitted that they went to this bootcamp or outright lied to interviews about their experience. So they were hiding that they even went to a bootcamp in order to get a job. As for the TA and instructor, my TA was a recent bootcamp grad, and the instructor taught the same bootcamp curriculum for the last 3 classes, so he basically memorized how the curriculum works. Trilogy hires TAs in the hopes of them becoming instructors after the next class is scheduled. The instructors and TA try their best for what they've given, but it's way too crammed with material that no one would reasonably understand in a short time with how much material is there. This article goes on for a little bit longer. There's too much information in the bootcamp and too little time. Class lasts 3 hours every session, and the instructor has to complete the activities within that time frame. So any questions you have will annoy your classmates because they're also on a time constraint, since many of them have to go to work right after class is done. So the people that are going aren't that committed, it sounds like. That's one open secret and peer. So there's that open secret and peer pressure where you shouldn't ask questions if it's going to delay the class even more than it already is. Of course, there's office hours, but those are held between 9:30 p.m. after class is done, and everyone is already wants to either go to sleep or go to work. Ugh. In the bootcamp, the main thing you'll be doing is building your portfolio. In the bootcamp, the main thing you'll be doing to build your portfolio is you'll be refactoring assignments and, in worst case scenarios, filling out blank files at the curriculum purposely deleted, and you'll have to figure out what logic or structures they deleted in order to get the application to function as a requirement. Speaking of the assignments, what you're taught in class isn't enough. You'll need to use outside material to even get started. So most of the time you won't even be really using class activities for your homework because it's so stuffed with material that it's hard to find what you're looking for in there. You'll be using YouTube videos most of the time, and that's the problem because you're paying the boot camp expecting them to give you the relevant material and sadly don't. And the people who grade your assignment are so passive aggressive, it's hilarious. They take off points on your assignments for the way you did them, even though you met the criteria to earn the points, and they don't give good suggestions on how to improve it. As long as the assignment is turned in and graded, that's all that really matters. Late assignments don't matter. As long as you turn them in before the end of the boot camp, you will qualify to graduate. Wow. You're learning the MERN stack with SQL, Redux, PWA, GraphQL, and some other stuff, but the problem is the activities they give you are not practical. It's literally the jokes from people Silicon Valley make about how people's portfolios are filled with projects no one will use. These assignments are literally what tech people make fun of. Skipping to the end, I graduated from my bootcamp 2 weeks ago, and I've gotten 4 interviews so far. That's pretty good. This was 5 months ago. And got caught in 4K when they found out I took a trilogy bootcamp when they looked into my GitHub and got rejected after the fact. That was a weird sentence, but basically they turned you down when they found out you went to trilogy. Take this as a lesson that you'll be looked down on for being a bootcamp grad by interviewers anyways, but as a trilogy grad, it's a whole nother story. I like seeing "nother" actually spelled out. I don't know. I'm not sure that if you'll be looked down for being a bootcamp grad specifically. Maybe you will. I mean, I think people still definitely value the 4-year degree, but I wouldn't say that like being looked down upon should be something that should scare you off enough to spend 4 years of your life attending a university. Now, if you want to go to WGU and get a CS degree in 18 months, that's another discussion. But I would not go $50,000 into debt just to get a bachelor's degree when you could have 4 years of experience. Don't ever mention that you attended a university bootcamp to recruiters. Bringing that topic up will instantly destroy your chances of getting hired. Trilogy and 2U encourage you to bring that up to recruiters, but I'm telling you the opposite. If you mention you went to a university bootcamp, they will be dumbfounded because they probably just heard for the first time that, quote, universities have coding bootcamps. And again, we went over that they don't. This isn't a university bootcamp. They're just using universities to market their product to make it seem more reputable, which, like, what the hell are these universities doing? There's already so much public skepticism for universities in general, for going to college in general. It's like less and less respected to have a college degree every year. And these universities just let this company in to masquerade a coding bootcamp. It's a bad move and a bad time for universities. It's a really weird move, and somebody should probably be fired for not doing their due diligence and letting these companies in. You'll be laughed at by recruiters for trying to crawl into the tech world as a bootcamp grad. Okay, dude, you're getting a little bit cynical here. I mean, I get that you got ripped off by a bootcamp, but a lot of bootcamp grads do get jobs. It's not something that everyone just laughs at right away. An increasing amount of bootcamp graduates are getting into tech through just doing a bootcamp and self-studying. So I don't really agree with that. But all that to say, especially as university, many people in my class are completely oblivious that we aren't actually taking a university bootcamp. You're just taking a trilogy bootcamp with the university's logo on the Canvas website and receive an email PDF of your certificate in a design of the university you apparently attended. Long story short, if you can, please stay away from university bootcamps that are run by Trilogy and edX. Those are for-profit, predatory companies that do the bare minimum and deceive people with their aggressive marketing, especially with Trilogy merging since they're trying to clear up their reputation. You'll be thanking me and many others for heeding this warning about predatory companies. edX and 2U are on their last legs. 2U stocks are plummeting. Oh, interesting. Let's look at 2U stock real quick. 2U stock. Oh, man. You guys get to see my terrible typing. Wow, they're down 13% today. 5 years. Oh, God, dude, they were worth $100 5 years ago. Look at that. That is abysmal. Abysmal. Wow. 15% day, guys. Oh my God, 13% now. They're up a little more. Jesus. That's brutal. I'm glad I looked that up. They're mishandling their money by purchasing companies like edX, and apparently they want to buy Chegg soon. And spending millions of dollars on TV ads instead of using their money to improve curriculum and overall experience. You are walking wallets into you's eyes, and they need your money to survive for a few more years. I'll be updating this post soon if I have more information I need to put down. Please do, man. It's been 5 months and you haven't posted. It'd be cool to hear. If coding that universities offered was somewhat okay, CS majors wouldn't be applying to private boot camps. Yeah, exactly. Coding at my universities is shit. When I was learning C at uni, everything seemed so hard and confusing. A proper Udemy course was able to teach me a full semester of C class in a month. Maybe less, but wasn't more than that. Thank you. I stumbled upon this thread today and I was just about to sign up for university's bootcamp as well. I had to ask via live chat who was leading the bootcamp, and they straight up told me it's edX. Thank you again. Yeah, that guy got saved. I graduated from a Trilogy full stack development bootcamp in February of 22. Every month when I see tuition payment being taken from my account, I get so sad that I was $13,000 in this garbage. I only stayed in the course because it was too late to get a refund. There you go. There you go. Like most people, I was lured in by the university name. Yeah, dude, that's the thing. It's insane that these universities are letting this happen. It's infuriating that they would attach their reputation to such a scummy company that is victimizing people that need to find a way to make a decent income. It's it's something that's increasingly annoying me and that I want to make more content about, because this predatory stuff is wild with coding bootcamps. I can't believe some of the things that I'm starting to see coding bootcamps do. Students in my class also didn't understand they weren't being taught quality content. Yeah, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. My course wrapped up around the same time as OP. I was already starting to develop doubts about the course 2 weeks in. Unfortunately, I read about Trilogy's exploits too late, so now I'm looking down the barrel of $12,000 of debt with nothing to show for it. Yeah, dude, I mean, I can't, it's crazy. I was fortunate enough to save up cash for my bootcamp, so it's essentially all paid for. But to think about not doing my due diligence and accidentally signing up for one of these predatory bootcamps and not being able to afford it up front, so I saddle myself with over $10,000 in debt just to realize I've entered a school that isn't going to actually teach me anything. It's just horrible, terrifying, like several $100s every month leaving your account for something that gave you no value. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting. This has been a video that's gone on quite long enough, but I just wanted to review this article. I'm going to be making more content like this in the coming months, so make sure to subscribe. See you in the next one.